Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Virtual Ball Boys, we do a podcast, predictions, jokes, and music on top. California Rams, they won the Super Bowl. Oh, 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 oh. California Rams, St. Louis enemies. Aaron Donald is our dad now. Virtual Ball Boys, what am I doing here? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah.
Credit to Matt Walsh for the idea of California Girls.
There you go. That worked out. I like the idea, the canonical idea, that whoever is, I guess the superior male, that wins the Super Bowl is automatically our dad for the next year.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of what I'm wanting to start.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm worried about is that Tom Brady retired.
Right.
Since this podcast last year.
Sure.
So I'm worried that Aaron Donald is going to retire and we become like a retirement announcement.
Well, he at least I mean that means at least Donald plays for one more year, right? Like
that's true.
So he
can play for one more year and then retire at the end of that season,
which unfortunately is now kind of plausible, but
yeah,
it is what it is. So welcome everyone. This is the post Super Bowl. We have done it. We have gone through all 200 and shit. Math. 200 and there used to be 200. There was 256 games in a 17-week season. Then you add 16 to that. That's 272, and then add 13 to that.
285.
285. We've been through 285 games this year. We've talked about all of them. We've picked all of them. And it's finally done. And yes, as Matt so eloquently sung, the Los Angeles Rams have reigned supreme. They are now the Super Bowl champion for the first time since 1999.
Chris and I were I guess at that point 2 years old. Had not turned 3 yet.
1999. Well, they won in 2000. So
2000. So we were 3.
Yes. You were on the verge of becoming 4.
Yes.
At that point. Yeah. So it's that was the greatest show on turf, and then this one was a different type of.
It was a show.
It was a show. It was a different type of show.
Was it turf? Or do they have grass?
It was turf, and I believe that was actually a topic of conversation in this game. Well, let's just dive right in, right? It's
sure.
Super Bowl 56 recap. We're not gonna go like a whole fucking we're not gonna do like a deep recap on this, but
if you're listening to this podcast, you probably watched the game.
I would imagine that even if you don't listen to this podcast, you watched the game, because at the end of the day, it's like everyone and their mothers watch it. Like it's
and if you don't listen to this podcast, what are you doing?
Yeah, how are you? How are you here? How are you channeling?
Why'd you get here?
Are you have radio waves, a radio antenna in your brain? So we have. I mean, I guess just the gist of it was that the game started off. I would say stronger for the Rams in some ways, because they had. I think OBJ out of the gate was playing out of his mind. He scored the first touchdown of the game as well. But ultimately, there ended up being some shifts in the old momentum, meter. Because OBJ then had a non-contact injury that ended up being a torn ACL. Which was going to be a bummer. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, okay, maybe the Rams won't do this.
Yeah, that moment was not a fun time.
No. But he was playing really well up until that point. And then on top of that, there was a I believe that there was a touchdown. I believe the next touchdown after that was the Bengals touchdown. That it was T. Higgins, who basically completely destroyed Jalen Ramsey, but in a way that should have drawn a penalty.
Right, absolute face mask.
Yeah,
like the definition of offensive pass interference.
Yeah, like he completely wrecked him, and the refs did not call it. They didn't really call much in this game until the end of the game, that's probably to the chagrin of Cincinnati fans. But at the same time, they benefited from that touchdown.
Right, you got the whole like, oh, the refs ruined it. In my eyes, it balanced out.
I think so.
Not for everyone, but like the reason you had those points was because the ref blew a call. If they blew that holding call at the end of the game, I don't know, kind of evens out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
There was another touchdown that the Rams had before the end of the first half. I forget who scored it. I think that was one of the first Cooper Kupp touchdowns. But that ended in a weird sequence where they went to kick the extra point, and it was I think a botched extra point.
Botched hold.
Yes, yeah, and then so they ultimately were like, all right, we're gonna fake it, and that just failed. So, yes,
got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, so the score going into halftime was 13-10. Which for the Bengals, everyone was like, yeah, the Bengals must feel pretty fucking good right now because they've been down in their other two games, and or at least against the Chiefs, and they came back from it. So there's that. What did you think of halftime?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
nothing like super spectacular. I liked that it was kind of like it felt like a mixtape or a playlist of all these different artists. Like they each got their one song. They all did it very well. I dug it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I very much am blinded in the rap scene. Like I'm not as like I'm not as into rap or hip hop as I think I should be, because some of those songs were absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I like some of the things that were iconic, like the Dr. Dre, like that piano riff that he does.
That piano riff is so good
near the end.
I Mandela effect that piano riff. Like I always want it to like change notes earlier than it actually does in my head.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. I mean, I'm sure there's been so many variations on it that you probably have heard it before in a different way.
It's so iconic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll be honest. I didn't realize that was from Dr. Dre until like the recent advertisements for that had that playing. But that's just because, again, I was just blind to it. But I think the person that was the best was Kendrick Lamar, and I just kind of wish that Kendrick Lamar had his own show in its entirety, because the choreography for that particular moment
that was so cool,
was so fucking good.
It was so good.
And apparently a lot of people liked it in the stadium, and a lot of people, let's just say, were very hungry. Because apparently, according to sources in the stadium stunk like weed.
Really?
After the fight, yeah, which I thought was very, very funny.
Yes.
But it's, when you have Snoop Dogg around, that's just kind of what you could expect, I guess. But no, fantastic halftime show. Definitely one of the best in years.
Yep. And by the way, whenever anyone like tries to complain about people of color doing halftime shows,
oh my god,
certain voices often get boosted during that time. And this is I'm not going to say who it is, because the point of what I'm going to say is just ignore them. And they'll go away. They feed off of attention. They know what that show like actually was like. They know it wasn't what they're saying it is,
right. But
you are paying attention to them. And that's what gets them going. Stop getting them going.
Yeah, it like you knew it was coming. Like everyone, you all knew it was coming. Like no matter how like risque or non-risque that show was, because it wasn't really.
It wasn't.
Like there, people are gonna be like, "Oh, the NFL, fucking Puerto." Like they're gonna do anything to twist that into some sort of narrative that just makes absolutely no sense. I think that was the best halftime show, I think, since Beyonce. There was a period of time where it was, I think it was it Beyonce? Wait, was Beyonce the Broncos Super Bowl? The Broncos Panthers Super Bowl? Yes.
Yep.
So
yeah, that was a good one.
It was that one. Bruno Mars was fantastic before that.
Bruno Mars is my personal favorite. I need to go back and watch the Prince one.
Yeah.
Because I was too young for that.
Yeah, same.
To like really get Prince.
Yeah, there's a lot of halftime shows from the past that that definitely we'll have no memory of. I like the Lady Gaga one. That was for Super Bowl 51.
That was good. That was solid.
I think we've been through kind of a drought of like, okay, all this is fine. The only thing interesting about
what about Katy Perry's, since I just sang her song?
That's true. I
that one sucked.
It was not great. The only thing that was fun about that one was the Left Shark.
Was Left Shark.
You know what I mean? Like that was, yeah. But no, it was pretty good. This one. So I definitely am hoping that they continue to like explore other genres outside of pop. Because that's what it's been the last few years prior to this. So that's the halftime show. Now going back into the game, Cincinnati, very early on, I think scored a touchdown. I forget who. I think this was the Joe Mixon touchdown, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah. I he ended up. Someone ended up running, moving it down the field. And they ended up getting a touchdown. And that they ended up taking the lead on that. And the Rams were down for a bit. They were down by 7, and they kicked a field goal so that they were within about like 4 points of the lead going into the fourth quarter. But I think the big moments of the game really, of course, come in the fourth quarter, and the drive that led to the winning score by the Rams was very good for Matthew Stafford, but extra good, obviously, for Cooper Kupp, just cementing himself as having one of the best receiving years of all time.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
But I think the one play that people will remember was Matthew Stafford did like a no-look Patrick Mahomes-esque pass to Cooper Kupp that ended up getting it. I think that was crossing the halfway point of the field, and getting it down to 20. They ended up moving it down a little bit more. It was at the point where they reached the goal line that all the penalties kind of started happening. There was a passive interference type call holding. That it was holding, right? Yeah, people were not happy about, but ultimately was called in favor of the Rams. That kind of kept their drive going, and ultimately Cooper Kupp scored the touchdown there. And then we get to Joe Burrow getting the chance to potentially march his team down the field with Evan McPherson waiting on the sideline. Anything could go down, but ultimately, if you get into range, you know that Evan McPherson probably was going to kick that field goal to tie the game and potentially launch this game into overtime. But what happens, Matt?
What happens is Aaron Donald becomes our dad.
And Aaron Donald on 4th and 1, just completely gives Joe Burrow no time to throw the ball. Burrow does get it out, and it actually gets shockingly close to being complete because of Samaje Perine being there. But the ball, I think, is a little bit too away from a Perine for him to actually go for the ball there. And Aaron Donald gets almost got the sack there, but regardless, got the ring in that moment. And it was just kneel down city. The Rams won the Super Bowl. Matt, what was just your overall takeaway from the Super Bowl?
I thought it was like, it wasn't a lights out game by any means. It felt like a very standard football game overall.
Yeah, I agree.
But I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't like a blowout, and I think that's the best thing that you could ask for a game, especially if you're like us that didn't really have like a major rooting interest in this game. You kind of want it to be as close as possible to at least be entertaining. But yeah, I think for me, I'm happy the most for Aaron Donald. I thought that based off there was the reports before the game, Rodney Harrison kind of broke some news before the game saying that Aaron Donald kind of told him that he might consider retiring because this shit's painful. Football,
no shit.
Football is a tough sport to play, and he wants to spend more time with his kids, and understandably so. It sounds like since then those reports have been tampered down, and it doesn't sound like Aaron Donald is going to be retiring. We'll obviously see. We'll cover it if it does happen, but I'm so happy for him being one of the best defensive players just ever, finally getting a ring. Yeah. I think, if he hadn't already gotten his bust in canon, like this kind of cements it. Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I think he might be first ballot, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
like three depoys and now a Super Bowl win, he's got it.
He should have it, yeah. And Matthew Stafford, of course, super happy for having all those years at the Lions, and then finally going to a new team and winning in his first year with a new team is great. Cooper Kupp,
take that, Lions.
Yeah. There's a lot of Detroit fans that were very, very happy to see him win.
And a lot of Detroit fans who were like, dude, really? Come on.
Cooper Kupp again having one of the best receiving seasons ever. Like he did hit marks that Jerry Rice did over the course of his career, and he did it in 1 year. Just absolutely outstanding. Andrew Whitworth, we'll talk about him in a bit, but he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And then goes on to win the Super Bowl against his former team that he was with for 11 fucking years.
That's fucking storybook shit.
Yeah, he's a 40-year-old left tackle. He probably should retire, but hey, if he wants to keep going, who are we to stop him?
Now the oldest player in the league.
Yeah, wild.
Since Brady retired.
And then I'm trying to think of other veterans. You know what was very strange, Matt? I don't know. It's not. It's weird to me, but I don't at the same time, like whatever the social media people want to do. But there seemed to be a very strange NFL driven social media blast after the Super Bowl congratulating OBJ and only OBJ for winning the Super Bowl. And I don't know why that was the case.
I don't know what that means.
I don't...
Like, it might mean something. I don't know what it means.
Like, I think... So, if I had to take a guess, it's the fact that it's SEO...
NFL hates the Rams.
I don't know, but...
Not the Rams, the Browns.
Oh, the Browns, yeah. I guess it's, like, the SEO that they need to hit, like, the social media people need to hit, because, I guess OBJ is a controversial figure that gets talked about a lot on social media, so that they need to specifically address him to get some tweets out. I don't know what it was. It was very strange. I'm happy for OBJ. Being a Giants fan, I wanted him to succeed with the Giants. It didn't work out. The stuff that happened to the Browns, you can hate him for it. At the end of the day, he probably was right about Baker Mayfield. And I don't know. I don't hate the guy. I'm happy for him. He's a drama king, but like at the same time, like whatever. Like so is a lot of wide receivers, and he's not nearly as bad as some other wide receivers that keep on getting chances, Antonio Brown. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's just weird to me that it was just very weird that it was very much focused on OBJ, a guy who only played like a half of the game and then unfortunately got injured. But whatever. Anyone else that I feel like, oh, Sean McVay, I'm happy for him to finally get a ring as well.
Yeah.
Just because boy wonder, and he's definitely had an impact on the league's hiring practices.
Oh, 1,000,000%. The league would be it is no understatement to say the league would look different. If Sean McVay was never hired.
Right. And I also think that, and he's a good coach. And I he's had some bad games, like in terms of like certain replay decisions, maybe certain play calls, but
who hasn't?
But people like him, and his players like him, and that's kind of what matters. And Matt, I want to ask you, like, this team was very unique compared to other NFL teams because they took this approach of, instead of investing in first round picks and draft picks in general, we are going to build a super team. We're going to invest in trades and free agency, and we're going to try to get the biggest names possible to come to our team. And it worked. Do you think that this is a sign that things could change, where teams are less dependent on the draft and start going into the idea of building a super team like this?
I think it's going to be dependent on the team and the year. I don't think it's going to change things like overwhelmingly. I think that it will be like, hey, this team is in that position. Like, let me think of like, I don't know, the Steelers maybe might be in that position where they get Aaron Rodgers, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
They have a stud defense. They get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and that's their like push. They put all of their eggs into the Aaron Rodgers basket.
Right.
I could see that as a possibility.
Yeah, I think like we go back to Tampa Bay last year with Tom Brady. Like I think that if there's anything that is going to change, it's going to be that I think that there's going to be a lot more people who might be aggressive to get a veteran quarterback, at least. Like you said, an Aaron Rodgers, maybe a Russell Wilson. And unfortunately, we're going to have to sit through Deshaun Watson stuff again. That is a thing that is going to be a frequent factor going forward, I think, is that superstar quarterbacks who have been on teams for a long time, maybe looking for a way out. Maybe Matt Ryan's that guy this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like anything could happen at this point. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be definitely leaned on for sure. The one person I'm not happy who won a Super Bowl on Sunday, Stan Kroenke. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Because he completely he was shitty to St. Louis, and just generally he just seems like a guy who just wants to make money just like any of the other owners. And I don't like that every single time we have a championship for a sport, it's always like, all right, the first person to get it is the guy who makes the money.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here, owner, give a speech. And it's like, dude, like, no one knows who the fuck this guy is who don't follow the sport. So, I don't know. Fuck the owners. What's your thoughts on the Bengals?
Man, I feel bad for them because they worked so hard to get there. I really hope for their sake that this was not a fluke season, that this was not a 2017 Jaguars situation where they were one of the worst teams in the league. They fight, they claw their way to relevancy to make it super far, and then they go back to nothingness. I don't think that's going to be the case. But it is so hard to get to a Super Bowl, and I hope that the Bengals are able to put together a good enough roster to get there again and win next time. Unless it's against the Bears, in which case I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I would like to have the optimism that they get back for another year, and they might. I've said it before. I said last week when I picked the Rams, like they will have opportunities because they are a young team and a lot of their talented players are young players. So there's plenty of opportunity and chances here that you know, that they're going to make it back. I just think that there needs to be buy-in from ownership and from the general manager position to invest in offensive linemen. There has to be some sort of push in free agency to try to get some big stars on the O-line.
Yes, I agree.
And especially since you're now picking 31st in the draft, you're not probably going to get the best prospect necessarily. I mean, first round, second round, like all those, they're value picks. Don't get me wrong, but it's. I think if you strike gold in free agency, that's going to matter. I think the difference between this team and the 2017 Broncos, though, or the Jaguars, is Joe Burrow. Because I think I think that we all kind of knew who Blake Bortles was. We kind of were riding that train of like him being this like up and coming superstar. But
this amazing lights out quarterback,
yes,
and darling of the Good Place writers.
Right. I mean, but I think we all understood that Blake Bortles was Blake Bortles at the end of the day. Even with that context, it's so. But to me, I feel like Joe Burrow is so different. He is such. He's really proven to be like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I think that alone is going to keep the Bengals relevant as long as he stays healthy. But they do need to protect him, and that's going to be the biggest story going forward. I still think that they made the right choice by picking Jamar Chase.
Absolutely. There was that one thing going around. It was like, man, Jamar Chase was open against Jalen Ramsey. Imagine if they had drafted Penei Sewell instead. No, dumbass.
Then
that's the wrong takeaway. Who's gonna catch the ball?
Right. Or would Jamar Chase have beaten Jalen Ramsey? Would have the other wide receiver that would have been there gone past Jalen Ramsey? I don't know. Like, it's the thing. It's that was a very bizarre thing. I forgot about that. That at the end of the play that Jamar Chase was open, but Joe Burrow had no time because of Aaron Donald. Yeah, it is so hard to get back. And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, it's going to happen, because I don't have any faith, because this is such a difficult AFC, and now you're going to have the Chiefs, the Bills, the Patriots, the Titans. You could still make the argument for, like, there's still so many teams, like, that, almost the entire AFC West, especially if Aaron Rodgers shows up there, like, it is going to be so difficult to go back. Even in division, it's going to be difficult. So you just kind of have to hope to kind of keep things going.
Are the Bengals the best AFC North team next year?
I think it's the Ravens still.
You still think it's the Ravens? Okay.
Because the only reason why I say that is because the reason why the Ravens were so bad last year was the injuries.
Horrid injuries.
If they were not as injured as they were, I think would have won the division. I think that their defensive players would have been there to actually show up and play really, really well. And I think Lamar Jackson still has, I still have faith in Lamar Jackson that they would have kept things interesting as well.
Me too.
I not to say that I don't think that the Bengals wouldn't be like I think they would definitely be like a close second. Like, I think it would be between those two teams. But I just think the Ravens just had such terrible luck this year. And
I agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's your Super Bowl. And yeah, the Rams got to celebrate yesterday when we were recording this. They got to do their little parade. Nothing really interesting came out of that outside of like people just trying to figure out if Sean McVay or Aaron Donald were going to retire, because Sean McVay was also being talked about retiring. That was weird. That was definitely confirmed that he was not going to be retiring. Donald is still up in the air, but again, we'll see.
Yeah. Hilarious that Sean McVay could retire for 20 years, come back, and still be a relatively young head coach.
Right. Wait, look, man. If he wants to do it, I mean, like, nothing's stopping him. I mean, he's now done everything that he possibly could at this point. But I'm sure he's gonna want to keep going, want to keep winning.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them, about what their future could be in a bit. Let's just go through the honors real quick. NFL honors. Defensive Player of the Year was T.J. Watt. No surprise there. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase. Also no surprise there. Defensive Rookie of the Year, unanimous, Micah Parsons.
Who else?
No.
Who else played on defensive rookie snap this year? I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, really. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow. Got it over Dak Prescott there.
Nice.
Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. No
Deserves
surprise. Yep. Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. And
good.
The winner of the MVP once again, it is none other than the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, Hatsune Miku. Congratulations, Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku, yes.
Congratulations,
Hatsune Miku.
Just one of the best quarterbacks all time, Hatsune Miku. She's done such a good job. Just been so stellar at everything that she's done. Just so happy, Hatsune Miku. She's just one of my favorite players. Like, she's just so good at what she does. And then as I mentioned earlier, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Andrew Whitworth. And a story that I thought was really interesting when he gave the speech was how that Detroit Lions player ran up to him and was like, when early on in your NFL career, you came to I think it was like the Boys and Girls Club or something, and you gave you gave advice that stayed with me, and we actually became good friends that way when I was just a kid, and you were just giving me advice, and then they got to meet on the football field, and he was able to re-meet Andrew Whitworth again to reintroduce himself.
Nice.
And Whitworth just seems like such a fucking good guy, and I'm very happy to see that he not only got the Walter Payton Award, but to see that he got the Super Bowl as well. Super happy on that front. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
Let us go through. This will be quick because we'll have plenty of off season to go through everything that's going to go down with these teams. But let's do a quick off season preview for all 8 divisions. Matt, why don't you get us rolling here?
Oh, fell on the floor. That's an 8.
All right, let's start with the AFC East here.
Okay.
So obviously the story of the Bills this year was basically like, all right, well, now that you have conquered the division 2 times in a row, but now the Patriots are kind of biting at your heels. You did kick their fucking ass, completely destroyed their ass in the wild card round, but at the end of the day, things could still change next year. In terms of free agents, it doesn't look like they have anyone major. Maybe the biggest name on their list is Jerry Hughes and Harrison Phillips on the defensive line, and Levi Wallace as a quarterback. Emmanuel Sanders is also going on the market. Also, they're losing Trubisky, Matt, in free agency.
Oh.
There you go.
New starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Mitch Trubisky. No, honestly, knowing the Bears look, he would be the next Favre Rodgers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, on the Patriots side, Kevin McCourty Dante Hightower, J.C. Jackson, Trent Brown, a lot of big names going into free agency. What do you think is the biggest thing that the Bills and Patriots have to do going into the offseason, Matt?
Bills need to maybe do what the Rams did.
Get some more superstars.
Get more superstars to really solidify their team to make sure that they get there. Like that should be the Bills' number one priority. They need to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the fucking Chiefs are going to be in the way. So
yeah,
it's not going to be the easiest thing to do, of course, but
yeah, they need some. They need a defensive player that could really stop things. You know, I mean, obviously losing Tre'Davious White to injury earlier in the year sucked, but no, yeah, I think another big superstar along with Tre'Davious White coming back probably could help things out on that front. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the Patriots?
I don't really want to think about the Patriots.
I think the Patriots probably they need to get younger on defense. Get rid of a lot of the stars that have not been as good as they used to be. And I think if you retool there, you'll be in fine shape. Dolphins, I was trying to look at the Dolphins, like what their free agents look like. Nothing huge. Mike Gesicki is going to be a free agent. Will Fuller is going to be a free agent. Emmanuel Ogbah is going to be a free agent. But
so it's going to be Jalen Waddle.
right, basically. And then Jets, I think maybe the biggest story for them, Marcus May becoming a free agent. That was the other safety that they drafted the year that Jamal Adams was drafted. Will they lose both of them in a span of a year or two? That will kind of suck for them. But overall, it's still a young.
They're not doing anything with them.
True. All right, roll the dice again.
All right. 6.
All right, let's do AFC South. How about you start this one?
Oh boy, the AFC South is a weird one. You got the Colts, who just barely missed out on the playoffs. You got the Titans, who got the number 1 overall seed, but just have been so weirdly inconsistent despite that. Texans scraping the bottom of the barrel and will continue to. Jaguars feel like there's a little bit more hope there, but not a ton. So I don't know. Weird division. It'll be interesting to see if the Colts will be able to do anything, or if they're going to be the ones who go off and spend a lot this offseason, because Carson Wentz is not going to do it. I don't know.
Yeah. On for the Titans, the biggest name I think in the free agent market for them is going to be Harold Landry. They might want to sign him back. Rashaan Evans is also going to be hitting free agency, so we'll see that their defense is definitely going to have to get some adjustments, but ultimately their offense, I think for the most part, will be staying intact. Their center is going to free agency, so maybe they would have to re-sign them. But ultimately, that team just needs to get in
consistent quarterback.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, everyone's blaming Ryan Tannehill, and maybe rightfully so, for that loss. It's so weird though, because I felt like the storyline going into this postseason was, man, Ryan Tannehill has become a top 10, top 15 quarterback. And now everyone's just like, get rid of Tannehill. It's just like, I don't know, man. Well, I guess we'll see. There's some offensive parts that are going to be hitting free agency for the Colts. Eric Fisher, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, to name a few on that front. I think Jacksonville and Houston, nothing of significance. I think their offensive line, it looks like a lot of their offensive linemen are going. DJ Chark is also hitting free agency for Jacksonville. But ultimately, I think both of the bottom two teams, they are just so deep in a rebuild situation that, you know, who knows if they really need to re-sign anybody. They just need to kind of retool. And more than anything, for Jacksonville, they need to protect Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
So we'll see. I don't even know what the Texans do at this point. They roll. I guess they could roll with Davis Mills, call it a fucking day. I don't know.
They're not gonna have Watson.
They shouldn't. Yeah,
They shouldn't.
Unless they come to some weird compromise. I doubt they're gonna have Watson in anyway. All right, roll a die.
All right. 7.
All right, let's do AFC North.
AFC North doors.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Cincy already. But I guess just to put a cap on it, their only free agents of note are CJ Uzama, their tight end, and Jesse Bates the third, who's been really, really good in the postseason. Eli Apple, I think, is also hitting free agency. A lot of defensive players hitting free agency, but at the same time, it's like, is that the end of the world for them? Not to say that their defense has been great, but specifically the names that are hitting the free agent market, I don't think, like, maybe Larry Ogunjobi you want to re-sign.
Yeah.
But that's, I think generally you just want to get stronger there, maybe through free agency or through the draft. I don't necessarily think you need to. I think maybe the two people I named in Ogunjobi, maybe it's the people that you end up keeping. But yeah, then you just have the division of, I think, all three of the teams that are behind the Bengals. I mean, those were 3 playoff teams last year. I mean, it's kind of wild. I think the Pittsburgh offense is going to look so much different next year, with the exception of Najee Harris. Yeah, like I think that every position group, like Juju Smith-Schuster once again is hitting free agency. James Washington, I mean, Chase Claypool's still gonna be there, but still, like, it's just a lot of changes on that front. Baltimore, I don't think that they have any major free agents as far as I can understand. I have to check. I'm going through Spot Rack right now and just sifting through and seeing if there's anything of note. No one's significant for the Ravens. Sammy Watkins hitting free agency again. Calais Campbell is gonna be a free agent. Maybe he stays with them. Maybe he goes somewhere else. He's already come out and said that he is not retiring, despite being in the league for a long ass fucking time.
Yeah.
Cleveland's the biggest question mark, I think, out of all of them for me, because I feel like you don't have a ton of major free agents. Like, Njoku is one, Clowney is another, but to me, the question for them is what's going to happen. Are they going to stick with Baker Mayfield? Or are they going to look somewhere else? What's your thoughts on Cleveland and just in general the AFC North?
Is it possible to stick with Baker? I think that, well, they kind of have to, at least at this point.
Yeah,
but I don't know. He's not the player you want him to be. And it may be time to move on. It's so hard to say. It's so hard to just say with how this offense is run, with it being mostly a run offense. Maybe you don't need someone as lights out as they maybe want Baker to be, but I don't know. Browns are hard.
Yeah, I think that I think I'm with you in that. I think that they're probably going to stick with him, unless a great opportunity lands in their lap. But I think they stick with him for now. I think the bigger quarterback question probably is Pittsburgh, because Big Ben is definitely retired, and so now where do they go from there? Do they stick with who's on the roster right now, or go free agency, or go to the draft? I think they go to the draft, because I don't know. There's something about the Steelers that doesn't scream like wanting to go for a big ticket quarterback. But hey, could be wrong. Probably by even the time you hear this podcast, I could be proven wrong, and fucking Russell Wilson's on the Pittsburgh Steelers or something. I don't know.
That would suck. Damn.
But yeah, a lot of questions there for both teams at quarterback. On that front. All right, roll a die.
All right. 3.
All right. NFC North.
My home.
Your division. Hey, what's your preview of your home?
Well, there's a lot of changeover. And I wish there was more changeover, but there might not be, given some recent news. I'm so tired, Chris.
Wait, when you say recent news, meaning like you it does.
Oh, the Aaron Rodgers might like get a contract again. That kind of.
So meaning like, so is everyone really clinging on to that speech that he gave at the NFL Honors, being like, yeah, I love you guys. Like,
I don't know anymore, Chris. The past 5 off seasons have been, Aaron might get a trade, he might go somewhere else, but the egomaniac just doesn't go anywhere. Just let Hatsune Miku be the quarterback. Let's just move on.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: like Hatsune Miku has been the quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, looking at the free agents here, this feels like the time that Aaron Rodgers would get sent somewhere else, because
you think,
because at Davante Adams, free agent, Alan Lazard, free agent, Robert Tonyan, free agent. You also have some, MVS, free agent. So like basically your entire wide receiver room is getting dismantled completely. That is, I mean, considering the fact that they didn't really give him a great wide receiver room to begin with, outside of Davante Adams, like, that's kind of wild. And then you do have a few guys on defense, none of your biggest stars, but still, man, like, I think that he does go into next year as the Packers quarterback, but it just, at this point, doesn't feel right. It doesn't, if I actually want to feel anything for Aaron Rodgers at this point, like, I feel like his best move is to just maybe just try somewhere else. You know that there is a team that has been pretty well built outside of the quarterback position in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you force your way there to go join your offensive coordinator, I just feel like that is a more ideal situation than with the Green Bay Packers. I know Matt LaFleur is a great head coach, and he deserves the credit for that. But
yes.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if this team unless they really invest in keeping the guys, keeping Davante Adams and keeping a bunch of the guys, and then on top of that, adding more to that, like fucking Ramsing it again, like we were talking about, like getting some big meaty guys for this, for Hatsune Miku to suckle on. Like, it's just, this is what we need.
What the fuck? What the fuck did you just say to me?
Oh, I was going off of the big meaty part, and I was just like, and then I was just like, I just wanted to double down and add some more words.
I don't know how to take this.
Real quick, just to check the rest of the division here. Vikings don't really have a lot of big free agents to worry about. Obviously, I think their defense is going to be the biggest question mark right now. Kevin O'Connell, of course, just became the head coach today. Yep. Like, that's funny to me. I don't know why. The Bears. What's happening with the Bears? Let's see.
New head coach.
Yeah.
We got dealing with basically new head coach stuff, new GM. It's going to be a brand new feeling team, which we desperately need. I hope it just doesn't turn into another, like, it's just like the Nagy era, where it's like, there's a little bit of hope here, and then it gets dashed.
Allen Robinson is on the market. We know that he's probably gone. Akeem Hicks is on the free market.
That loss would suck.
Maybe he's gone.
But it's likely.
James Daniels on the offensive line. Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, no, I know.
You throw a touchdown to him every once in a while, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And then, Detroit, I don't think there's really anyone huge that Detroit's losing at this point. They're just trying to get back to winning at this point, so it's kind of hard to, like, judge, like, all right, who are the big key guys that they're losing? Charles Harris is maybe notable, because that was a former first-round pick, but I don't know if he really succeeded there. Yeah, we'll see. The Lions are interesting, because maybe with a good, like, we think that Dan Campbell is a good head coach, so maybe this team does have a nice turnaround season for year 2, but we We'll see. All right, roll the die.
2.
All right, let's do the NFC South. Well, the story of the NFC South really goes through Tampa, right? What are they going to do at quarterback? Tom Brady's been hinting that he might come back at some point. So who knows? But also, here's the fucking thing. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. Here's the list of free agents for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin, Jason Pierre-Paul, Ryan Jensen, Dinamico, God damn it. Ndamukong Suh. I always had his name right up until that moment. Rob Gronkowski, William Golston, Leonard Fournette, O.J. Howard, Ronald Jones, Carlton Davis, Alex Kapka, Jordan Whitehead. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's funny because their storyline at the start of the season was, man, we retained all 22 of our starters.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year. Yeah, so they're, like, I mean, yeah, everyone's focused on the quarterback, obviously, but, like, yeah, this is a lot.
There's a lot more than that to deal with.
That they're going to have to rebuild. I mean, they still got Mike Evans locked in, and obviously that's a big deal for them. You know, they still have some of those younger wide receivers that really kind of filled in the gap while Chris Godwin was gone. But getting Fournette back is probably going to be a huge priority for them. Godwin, obviously, back would be great for them. Pierre-Paul and Sue, you know, that helps their defensive line. Shaq Barrett, they have signed, so they don't have to necessarily worry about him. Yeah, a lot of question marks on that front. The Saints now going with Dennis Allen as their head coach. Their biggest free agents here, Marcus Williams, their free safety, and Taron Armstead, their left tackle. Deontay Harris, who played a pivotal role at times without Mike Thomas on the field. He's also hitting free agency. What's gonna happen with Michael Thomas? That's another fucking question.
This whole division is so many question marks. Like how many people the Bucs are losing.
Alvin Kamara is a question mark too. Like,
yep, because he got arrested.
Right. Well, even beyond that, like, what if this team? I wonder if this team goes into full rebuild. Does Cameron Jordan get traded? All these questions, man. There's a lot there. What's your thoughts on Carolina right now?
I have no fucking idea until I know who the quarterback is.
Right.
Because, again, another team. You could plop a great quarterback on there, and I think the team is excellent. Another thing that Carolina has dealt with is injury. Especially with Christian McCaffrey. Like, if Christian McCaffrey plays a whole season, I think this team is different.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been able to play a whole season, so that part hasn't been working out for them.
Stephon Gilmore is their biggest free agent. Hassan Reddick as well. Cam Newton would have been a bigger name on that free agent list maybe a few years ago. Yeah, this team seems like it could have talent there, but I don't know, man. It's just, it feels, and don't like, I don't know, man. This team just feels like bottom of the barrel right now. I don't have a lot of confidence in what's there at the moment. I feel like outside of McCaffrey, they do have some great wide receivers too, but I just, in general, I'm just not very high on them. And I do. Yeah,
it's been a lot of years of like, oh, they can do it, and then they do it for like a little bit, and then it all falls apart.
So it's gonna be a lot to kind of keep track of there. And then the Falcons, I mean, Cordell Patterson is their biggest free agent, and then you have Hayden Hurst. They released Dante Fowler. But it's also quarterback. Like, are they going to stick with Matt Ryan for another year? Or are they going to move on to something else? Like, are they going to continue this kind of rebuilding the operation right now while having a veteran quarterback at the helm? Or are they going to say, hey, Matt, we want to kind of put you in a better situation. We're going to trade you somewhere else. Like, that could happen.
Yeah, I would feel better for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
On that regard.
For sure. All right. Well, what's your, what's next roll?
5. Have we done 5?
No.
Okay,
AFC
cool.
West.
All right.
I think we only have one division after this. Oh no! Oh wait!
Okay, cool.
Oh no, we have two divisions.
We have two. All right, AFC West. Chiefs. They will continue to be the Chiefs. I'm not concerned about them at all. Chargers make the fucking playoffs. My goodness, they have a great quarterback with Justin Herbert. They just need to get in the right situations more. I don't know how that happens. Maybe boost up their defense a little bit, but they should have made the playoffs this year. Raiders, I don't know. No one knows. Broncos, one quarterback away from greatness. It's wild how many teams this year feel just like that.
Yeah. KC has a handful of free agents: Tyrann Mathieu, Jaron Reed, Melvin Ingram, Javarius Ward, I should say. Their offensive weapons aren't as bad. Darrell Williams, running back, and then Pringle and Marcus Robinson are free agents. Orlando Brown, tackle, but mainly their superstars on offense seem to be in place going into the offseason, so they'll be fine. They're the Chiefs. Mike Williams and Uchenna Nwosu, they're both heading free agency, as well as Chris Harris, Linval Joseph, Jared Cook, but Jared Cook didn't really work out for them that much this year. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like I feel like every single one of these guys, they're just like they're right there. They're going like even the Vegas Raiders, which it is so weird that they did make the playoffs this year. I feel like I don't know, like maybe 1 year with a coach general manager combination that isn't just for show. I mean, I know Josh McDaniels is a bit of a flashy hire, and his history with the Broncos is not necessarily a bright spot in football history, but I also feel like, I don't know, like there's a chance that he's grown since then, and he says that he's grown. Obviously, you know, we've heard that from Mike McCarthy as well, but like, I don't know, like I something tells me that like if this team kind of builds on the talent that's already there, with Derek Carr being a good quarterback that's probably going to continue to be there, and getting the opportunity, like they need a deep wide receiver again since they lost Henry Ruggs, and they need, I think they just need a better secondary overall, and maybe another piece in the front seven, but you do already have some pretty decent pieces there, like. I don't know, man. I think the Vegas Raiders are in good shape. I think the Denver Broncos are in good shape, minus the quarterback. And again, if you add Aaron Rodgers to that, like everything's gonna be fine. Kyle Fuller, Melvin Gordon, those are your only free agents of huge note there. Bridgewater, of course, hitting free agency as well. I don't know, man. It does feel like they're a quarterback away. Maybe they draft one. Maybe that's what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe because they are high enough in the draft order.
Right. They didn't get Fields this year, but maybe they'll get it next year.
They could trade up. I don't know what their pick situation is, but they could trade up to get a quarterback, especially if Rodgers decides to stay with Green Bay.
Grab one of the Giants picks.
Yeah. Hey, come and call in, Broncos. We're here. All right, what's next roll? We're between I think what we have here is a 1 or 4.
Yes. 1.
All right, NFC West time.
Rams. Oh, you're up.
No, I just went, I think. Oh no, you're right. I am up.
Yeah. You are up.
Yeah, so we talked about the Rams. They were all talked about being all in this year, and it worked out for them. But of course, they do have some free agent decisions to make now. Von Miller, hitting free agency. Odell Beckham hitting free agency. Darius Williams, Sonny Michel, Austin Corbett. All these guys, have played in some capacity, a significant role in getting them to Super Bowl. My guess is that the Rams are going to prioritize Von Miller, and then have the other 4 have the rest of them test free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my guess at that point. But I think that overall they still have some of their biggest superstars still signed and still ready to go. So I think that they're going to compete next year. Will it be at the level of where they got to the Super Bowl? We'll see. But I don't know. We'll find out, right?
Yep.
San Francisco, I don't think it does have like a huge. They don't have a ton of huge names in free agency. Raheem Mostert is maybe their biggest name, but even I feel like he's not been in the picture for a while.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, he's been injury.
The story for them is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
Like, what do you think? Where do you think Jimmy Garoppolo ends up?
Oh my god, I don't know. They make it so confusing. They draft all these players super high and don't play them. Granted, they don't play well, so like it's not totally their fault. But you can't get better unless you play out of San Francisco's dumb. If they keep Jimmy Garoppolo this year, I will be aghast.
It would be very strange.
That they need to. It would be very strange. I think they need to get Trey Lance in there right away.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Jimmy G is a Panther.
Maybe, or a Buccaneer, which would be
hilarious. It just follows in Brady's footsteps.
Every turn. He got Tom Brady's dream quarterback job, and then gets his former gig with the Bucs. Jesus Christ. I think the most intriguing team is the Cardinals because of Kyler Murray. That whole situation's kind of weirdly escalated. After the reports during Super Bowl Sunday of how, according to sources, my guess within the team, trying to paint Kyler Murray poorly, saying that Kyler Murray is this finger pointer who just wants to blame everyone but himself. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what the reports that came out. And Kyler Murray did release a statement basically saying that he's always played for his teammates and all that stuff, but nothing about wanting to stay with the Cardinals. It's getting messy, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think it... I would not have expected that situation to be the messy one.
No. No, it's surprising. They also have Chandler Jones hitting free agency, Zach Ertz hitting free agency, AJ Green, Max Williams. None of those are really... I mean, Chandler Jones definitely is the big deal there. The rest of them might not be too bad. James Conner, Kristen Kirk, Chase Edmonds, all those guys hitting free agency right now. Yeah, messy situation right now with the Cardinals. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know how that's going to end. Maybe Kyler Murray is the superstar quarterback that gets moved. I don't know. Who fucking knows at this point?
Oh, this league, dude.
And the Seahawks, the story with them, you do have Quandre Diggs hitting free agency, Alex Collins, who kind of, I don't know why Alex Collins. Oh no, Rashad Penny. There you go, Rashad Penny. Yep. I was like, I for some reason they're highlighting Alex Collins on here as being a more significant free agent here than Rashad Penny. But Rashad Penny started kind of playing well this year.
Yeah.
So
after being a first round pick and doing nothing.
Yeah. So maybe they keep him now. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But the question here is Russell Wilson. Do we think Russell Wilson stays with the Seahawks?
Yes.
I think so.
That one I actually feel like pretty set on Russell Wilson will be a Seahawk next year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because I think that there isn't as much animosity there. I think there's going to be some rumors about it's going to be like what happened last year where he kind of leaks like, there's a few teams I would want to play for.
Right.
But I don't know. It's weird. Like, I feel like if you were to tell me that they kept, at the end of the year, after a season where they did not make the playoffs, that Pete Carroll will still be around and that Russell Wilson would still want to be the quarterback of the Seahawks, I would tell you that there's no way, shape, or form that Russell Wilson would be staying. But the vibe that I'm getting right now is from... Russell Wilson out in the open that he doesn't really hate the Seahawks as much as we may think that he does at this point. All right. Last up is the NFC East, Matt.
My least favorite division in football. How kind of you.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Cowboys. Do they have the the bones to make a playoff run or win a playoff game, something they haven't been able to do in a really long time. What kind of team will the Eagles be next year? What kind of team will Washington be next year? Washington's another team, really needs a quarterback. The Commanders now with their new really, really bad name. And then the Giants, new head coach, new futures, new opportunities, new optimism. You're in good hands, Chris. I don't know. Actually.
You sound like you're starting a cryptocurrency commercial.
The New York Giants are the cryptocurrency of football. No, I wouldn't lay that on you.
I wish you weren't so right. No.
By the way, if you are into cryptocurrency, you are getting scammed. Get out of it.
Yeah. I thought you were going to legit advertise something. I was like,
no.
What? Blindsided.
Chaos Coin.
Oh no!
Don't make Chaos Coin ever, please.
Yeah, the big names that are hitting free agency for the Dallas Cowboys aren't huge, so that's good news for them. Maybe the biggest name is Michael Gallup. Maybe Cedric Wilson. But like,
I love Cowboys Twitter or Cowboys Twitter discourse because it's like, oh, the Cowboys should cut Amari Cooper. No, what the fuck are you talking about?
Why? Like, what did he do?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the point. I don't know. That's a weird one. That's a weird one, Chief.
Yep. I think it was trade, but still.
Yeah. Eagles don't have a lot of free agents either, but there's still some big names here. Anthony Harris, Derek Barnett, Ryan Kerrigan. No one that is huge for them. So maybe they just keep on building, keep that defensive line intact, keep that offensive line intact, just keep the trenches intact, and then maybe we'll see what the quarterback situation is going to be there. Because I know that Jalen Hurts could be the answer there, but there's maybe that's a stick to the plan type thing. But maybe again, if another opportunity arises, maybe they'll look into other options. Washington. Yeah, the quarterback's going to be the big issue here. Brandon Scherf is one of the biggest free agents out there for this league, and I think he would have a market to go to the Bengals, being one of the biggest offensive guards on the market. But I'm sure Washington would want to retain him in some capacity. J.D. McKissick would be another one that's going to hit free agency. Ryan Fitzpatrick would also potentially hit free agency probably at this point. Mm-hmm. We'll see where Fitzmagic goes. And then the Giants, are they going to really have anyone? Like, okay, Evan Ingram and Jabril Peppers, but like neither of them have been that much of a factor as of late for the Giants. And everyone else here, like Lorenzo Carter, hasn't really been that big of a factor, so he could probably go. Nate Soldier has just been not a good free agent signing. Will Hernandez on the offensive line, but the offensive line has not been good. There is some significant guys here that I know by name, but like nothing that's gonna be like, all right, these guys need to come back. Like I think this Giants team is going into rebuild mode, and that's the end of that. And speaking of the end of that, that's the end of the podcast.
Nice transition.
Yeah. So that's your off-season preview. So, housekeeping. Lots of housekeeping to go through real quick. First of all, with the victory by the Rams, the game that we will be playing on stream at some point soon is Overcooked.
Wait. What?
No, not Halo. Not Halo. No, so we're gonna play Overcooked. I already have it all set to go. So we are definitely looking forward to playing that. That'll be on twitch.tv/Team KS Productions. Speaking of twitch.tv/Team KS Productions, shit's gonna transition, folks. All right. We are done with the NFL for a bit. All right, we're gonna let all the chaos that's gonna unfold over the next few weeks. We're gonna put that to the side because we have our own in-house chaos to deal with. And that is with the virtual Ball Boys Football League. We have Week 8 to play. We have the first round of the playoffs to play, and we have the semifinals and championship to decide for the VBFL. So over the next 3 weeks or so, we'll see. We are going to be doing some VBFL streaming as well as filming for the podcast. I still have to upload the last VBFL podcast. It's still, I believe the VOD is still up on twitch.tv, but it will be up on YouTube and will be on your podcast services relatively soon. But yeah, that's basically what's going to be happening from here on out right now, is that we're going to turn our attention fully to the VBFL. May continue doing episodes on Thursdays. We may end up doing some on the weekends. We may, if we want to speed up the process, we could do both. But we'll take it at our own pace, because now it's the off season and we have nothing to talk about real world football. Outside, of course, free agency is going to be coming around the corner, and we'll talk about that every now and then. I don't know if there's a new gaming coop went out on Saturday. It was our first ever mini coop. It was me, it was Kelsey, it was Anthony. We talked about Horizon Zero Dawn. That is the first game, not the new game that's coming out today when you're listening to this. We talked about the old game. We talked about what we loved about it. And we went deep into the story and the gameplay elements that we enjoyed the most. Of course, we're going to now play a Horizon Forbidden West, and we'll probably have a Horizon Forbidden West mini coop at some point. We're also planning other mini coops. I know for me, I really want to do a Pokemon Legends Arceus mini coop with you, Matt, and Gabe at some point. I have to get further in the game. So I just reached I reached my 3rd rank. But nice. I have not, I've barely done any missions in, the 2nd region that I've unlocked. So I think I am still a ways off from beating it, but even if I don't beat it, I still think a mini coop will be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Our thoughts on that game. So no timetable about when that comes, but we'll let you know. It'll be fun. We're looking forward to that. We also have we'll be filming another game coop in the coming weeks. And of course, listen to all of our different Team Chaos Productions podcasts. If you follow us at Team Chaos Pods, you'll get updates about when we go live with a new episode of any of our podcasts. Of course, subscribe to us on your podcast services as well. Matt, is there anything that I am missing? Anything that you would like to say about this season of football? Anything?
It's probably my favorite season of football that since you and I started talking about football. Mm-hmm. This has been my favorite season. Just a lot of chaos, lots of up and down. The fucking Bengals made the Super Bowl. How?
Yeah. I'm with you, man. It was really special. I think it was the most fun I've had with a Super Bowl preview since Panthers Broncos, and that was now over half a decade ago at this point. It really was every single week you did not know what was going to happen, and it definitely reinvigorated some love that I had for the sport that I've kind of lost in more recent times. So I very much am happy with how everything unfolded, and to do it with you every single week has been a blast as always.
Fuck yeah.
And
embrace the chaos. And
I hope that you guys have embraced the chaos and have enjoyed listening to us. Of course, our season isn't over. Technically, our season finales are in August. That's kind of how we roll with it. But of course, this has been the season finale of the 2021 football season. But we will be back maybe next week for the continuation of the VBFL as we start to move that into our main priority. And of course, we will be always talking about anything that is happening in the free agents and trading world of the NFL. We'll let you know. But with all that being said, we will see you in a few weeks.
Good night. And good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.